Welcome to the new episode of the NFT Podcast. And today I'm here with Koji and Oscar, the two members of the parallel team. And hello, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
Great, man. So let's jump into parallel. Like this game that you are developing on the blockchain seems something very difficult. What are you doing, guys?
What are we doing? I mean, I ask myself that question every day, I think. But essentially, what we're trying to do is build a trading card game using NFTs on the blockchain, something akin to, say, Magic the Gathering, the sort of physical version of Magic the Gathering, or something like Hearthstone or Runeterra. But you actually own your cards. So not only can you use them in game, but you can buy, sell, and trade them individually on secondary markets. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Wow. So you can like sell the NFTs that you earn in the game, also on secondary markets like OpenSea and all the other. Oh, great!
Yeah,
That's a
I
revolution.
mean, yeah, our goal is to make all the resources in game NFT so that they belong to the player, not, you know, in a lot of these digital games, it feels like you're leasing the resources from the company, like you're buying packs and opening those packs. But once you have those cards, you can't do anything with them other than play with them in game. Like if you had a card that I wanted, there's no way for you to get it to me in a game like Hearthstone or Runeterra, which are both great games. Don't get me wrong, but so we kind of wanted to solve that problem, kind of close that loop. So that's what we're trying to do.
And
Yeah,
on the other side, with NFTs, like the just crypto art, you get the art, and that's that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I collect crypto art, right? But you cannot do any. You look at it, and that's it. So we wanted to mix. Okay, you buy this thing that you like. You want to own the original, like the code of that piece. Now, instead of just looking at it, what like it's what happens when you start to when it has a purpose other than
yeah,
being a piece of art, right? Like now you can actually play with it. Maybe you can lose it to someone else. Maybe like it just makes it more exciting.
yeah. That's amazing because of course when I stop playing the game, let's say I play Call of Duty or the other game and stop playing, at least something stay with me. So your NFTs
Mhm.
and that they can like change the use over time. Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
And what do you do? Like you are Oscar, I don't know what do you do, and Koji, what do you do for the team? And what is needed in a team of blockchain games?
Uh, I'm acting as the art director and slash designer for the cards right now. Where the art team is made out of three persons. It's Nacho Yagüe, who's in charge of characters, Oscar Cafaro, who's in charge of industrial design, and myself. I do more like the relics, the items, and the effect cards, which it's more sometimes lands on the abstract side of the visuals.
Yeah.
And but I but yeah, like the like my goal on these first 15 cars was to set the look, like set the look of the cars, the materials, the lighting, and then just make a style guide for that so the other artists, designers, whatever you want to call them, can take that and then and run with it. So if one day, let's say, we grow even more and we have 10 artists, there's a solid base that they can look at and start work from there.
Wow.
Uh,
So
I think.
so
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. So you're like building the brand identity for the game itself. And one thing I'm asking about this is that everyone that is not also part of the game can like create piece of art for this game because it's like the open sourceness of the blockchain or not. Just
No,
developers.
not yet.
Okay.
So no, like we like floated that idea of maybe have guest artists, but
Yeah.
that will come if that happens. I want to like I'm not saying it's gonna happen. If it happens, that's not for the alpha deck. The alpha deck needs to
Okay.
be just the initial team, and it's like it needs to be solid.
Yeah.
And then if in the future we're like, oh, we maybe we can get this artist to collaborate with us and make a set of cards. That's that might happen, but it's not like anyone can just jump in and start to do art for the game.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. And so, Koji,
Uh,
what do you do instead for the team?
what do I do? Well, first I want to say I think Oscar's being modest when he says that he's acting as the art director. I think we told him that it would be a couple hours a week, and it's become an all day, every day situation. So
Yeah.
he's more than acting for sure. Me, I am the game designer. So and when I say designer, I mean I am the one coming up with the rules and the gameplay, the mechanics, and kind of all the ins and outs of the actual game part of the game, if that makes any sense. Um, and yeah, so it's been an interesting it's been an interesting sort of ride. And actually, I feel like we design games or card games, anyways, a little bit differently than some of our contemporaries, because it's not as if I just design a card, give it to Oscar, and say, Oscar, make some art for this. We kind of all sit down together and come up with ideas. Sometimes he'll show me a picture, and I'll be like, "That's a great picture. Let me see if I can figure out something that'll fit in the game." Rather than
No.
rather than it being like a one-way pipe, it kind of our process kind of travels both ways.
Yeah, it's super organic, and it's that's been really enjoyable. Just setting up a call, going through the list of cards that we have to make, and then just like bounce ideas, right? Like, oh, what are you imagining here, Koji or Kian or Sam, the writers? Like, and then they all tell me like what they were envisioning. Sometimes it's sometimes it's a scene of the Lord of the Rings. It's like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's not doable. Like, we're not Weta, but it's fun just to grab everyone's ideas and see and put that in an image, or the other way, like Koji says. Sometimes we have a channel where we just throw images that we make like on our free time, or sometimes there are images that were didn't work for other projects, and
Yeah.
maybe that sparks something, like ideas for cards, and then we modify them to fit to the game.
Sure, yeah. That's like the creative process behind all it. And also then like the creative process, so like this brainstorming side, how do you like technically create these NFTs and these cards inside the game? I don't know if like there is a
Man, I
protocol
can
or there are tools that you
I
use.
I can show you the literally. I don't know if you're familiar with the last son of Mars or the graphene battery. Like, that's the graphene battery. That's the sketch for the last son of Mars,
Oh,
and
wow.
then yeah, and
Wow.
then we just start to like I turn that sketch into a 3D model inside of Cinema 4D, and then just start texturing, lighting. But that's how, like, that's the simplest way to share the idea with these guys. Is like I show them a shitty sketch like that, and they're like, yeah, right, that works, and then we go from there.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of we have a teammate named Sasha, and to his credit, and sometimes to his detriment, but mostly to his credit, he pushes us really hard. But it works because it's like we don't have time to overthink things. It's just
Yeah.
No.
like, let's figure out how to make this work. And as soon as someone comes up with a solution that's viable, we're just like, great, let's do it. There's not a lot of time to sit around and debate the best processes and the this and then that. It's more just like, okay, we have a plan. Let's just
Yeah.
run with it until we find a flaw. And it's actually worked very well up to this point, for
Yeah.
sure.
Great. Yeah, so better do something like faster that it's 80% good than something like 100% perfect and you took 1 year to do this. It's
Yeah.
important when you're developing like at this state that you are.
Yeah. And from the visual side of things on that topic, it's different because the three guys the three artists, we worked on AAA games and movies, and that's a completely different process. Like the last game that I worked on, I think it took 5 years to make,
Oh,
and that's like that's just the game had probably eight characters, right? And to develop each one of those characters is like a 4 or 5 month period, and now it's like, all right, we have a week. What do we do? So it's just throwing all the ideas out there. Some people like it's also super interesting to see in such a small team the difference between a studio of 300 people. Here is like you have three guys saying like, I hate this part of the character, and it's like, okay, how, like, we try to keep everyone happy, right? And in a 300 studio, if 10 people
yeah,
say I don't like it, you're like, you you don't hear those voices just because it's too big, right? And you cannot keep 300 people happy. It's going to be impossible. So it's
yeah,
funny to see that the same happens in a team of like 10 uh, 10 persons, but it's easier to change things to keep everyone, happy with the product, with the final product.
yeah. Amazing. And so you were saying that before, like developing games on the blockchain, you were an artist for traditional games, right? You were an
Yeah,
artist,
yeah.
and
For games and movies.
how and why did you make this jump and you joined the NFTs world? What makes you, as an artist in the games the world, say, okay, I want to go here?
It wasn't like I think it happened by accident. The story is too long to tell, but so I started doing lighting in games, right? Like in companies like Electronic Arts. Then I was an art director at Ubisoft. So when you're in those studios, you work
Wow,
on a lot of
wow,
titles, like sometimes at the same time. Then I quit and I opened my studio, and I kept working with those companies, or with Riot Games. I helped them with Valorant, other titles that are not out yet, so I cannot mention. Same with some movies, I cannot mention them yet. But as with my studio, it was fun just to I can jump from project to project. I don't have to spend
yeah,
5 years in one single project, right? And then what, December last year, NFTs starting to pop, and I was like, okay, what's that? What's that? At first, I hated it. Like I hated.
like everything new, yeah,
I went through this process that now I laugh when I see people going through it, because I went through the same thing. I went through confusion, then anger, because I saw things that I could create literally in 15 minutes, and they were being sold for $30,000.
yeah,
And I think when you don't understand something, you get angry
yeah,
because you're not getting it. And then I like, I got that anxiety of, okay, how is this happening, right? Like I didn't see it. I was seeing it from the technical point of view, not from the whole NFT thing. Like I still didn't understand. And then it changed when a couple of good friends made their drops, and they were really successful. And that confusion or anger that I had, it turned into happiness, because I was like, these guys just made their year by
yeah,
dropping three pieces, and I love their pieces. Like, then I wanted to know more, so I asked them, like I asked them to educate me on the subject, because I was like, I cannot be angry at something that's helping people that I like, that I love, right?
yeah,
And then they
yeah,
started to explain me how the whole thing worked. I stopped caring if the images look good or bad. I was just like, okay, it's more about people are investing on the person more
yeah,
than on the actual image, which is weird, right? But you see it when you go to a museum, and a white canvas it's sold for, I don't know, $500,000. The person that buys that buys it because of who made it, not because of what it's there for you to see. So I think it's super interesting that now that's transitioning to this digital world, and but also because more people are jumping into it, now you see good quality images being turned into NFTs, because now it's not just like the 5 6 people that started.
Yeah.
Now it's every like really talented people are jumping to it. So it's, I don't know, to me it's super exciting times and interesting. Like then people are doing their own like worlds that you can play as in game engines, and then you can find the pieces scattered around the world. Like people people can do, like, I think it's just the beginning. Like now art galleries have uh, vertical screens. This happened last month.
Yeah.
Gallery in Vancouver, I think, just set up 20 pieces, and now they're it's like entering to a museum, but the pieces are moving. I mean, I don't know. That's pretty cool to me. I sorry, and then the I went I to your question. Uh, I was just working on my own stuff, personal stuff. Sasha, the a guy from the team, saw that stuff uh, and asked me if I was interested in working on a game made with NFTs, and I said yes. That was the like months ago. Uh, the team came together, and that's how we're here. Like it was super organic. It was like I said in the beginning. It was almost by accident. Like, yeah, okay, I'll do it, and then everything worked out.
That's amazing. Yeah. So you said one of the thing that I love the most about NFTs that I had to tweet it today. So the one of the best thing about NFTs is that you can invest in people and that you can work as an artist. You can work for yourself and don't be related to any other companies. And okay, great. And what about you, Koji? In the sense, why you're joining this world? Because what are the opportunities that you see like for NFTs in the future as a game designer?
Well, okay, so I mean, I entered it from a different perspective. I grew up playing all kinds of games. Like as soon as I was introduced to the world of gaming, generally both video gaming and just board gaming, I've been obsessed. As a kid, my first computer was an XT Turbo, and I begged for it because my uncle showed me that you could play little ASCII games on it. And I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
And from there my journey just like went on. But then I encountered Magic the Gathering, the physical card game, and I encountered it when it was in its unlimited phase. And I remember to this day still what it feels like to go into a comic store, for me anyways, was a comic store, and buying packs of cards, opening those cards, not knowing what I would get, and then figuring out how to use those cards in the game. And I was like, this is super exciting.
So
And to Oscar's point, I didn't really understand NFTs or any of this stuff. But when I was sat down and was told, okay, what it does is it allows you to make individualized digital assets, I was like, and we're going to use this in a card game? Okay, I get it. I completely get it, because now I can somehow recreate that same function of tearing open a pack, getting these cards, and not only using them in my deck, but if there's one that I don't need that my friend needs, maybe we trade. Because again, that's something that I used to do all the time as a kid. We would all get together, open our packs, and be like, oh, okay, you play a red deck. I don't play red here. You can have these red ones, and I'll take the green ones, and we'll
yeah,
figure it out. And like for me, it's as simple as that. Like I don't need to dig any deeper. I mean, obviously I have, because we're doing this whole thing. But as soon as I heard that, I was like, that's it. That's perfect. That's what you want out of a game, because that brings all the fun of um, being a kid. And I feel like a lot about gaming is like recapturing the joy of make believe when you're a kid. Because when you're really young, a game can just be like, okay, I'm gonna pretend to be a robber, and you pretend to be a cop, and I'm gonna run around outside in the field, and you try and catch me. And that's all you need for a game, because you're so wrapped up in it. And as an adult, I think we need to add a few layers of complexity. But anything that we can get to bring us back to our kid-like feelings, that's what draws me in. And so that's why I'm excited about the whole NFT portion of it.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's nothing like the concept is not new. Do you remember those I don't know if you guys, if you're into vinyl toys, but the Donnies, like the little these guys here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I
So these,
wasn't there, no, but I know them. Yeah.
well, yeah, these guys come on secret boxes, right? So when you get the box, you don't know, like the box tells you you have there's 15 designs, you don't know what you're getting, and then they tell you the rarity of each design. Like for example, this guy's like, oh, there's it is super common, so you'll probably get it, but then there's the ones that is like one of, I don't know, 500, yeah. So
Yeah.
so like it's harder to get. And I mean, this wasn't, I didn't experience this as a kid. This, I do this now as an adult. Like you go, you buy your box for I don't know, it's a $20 box, and you don't know what you're gonna get. And sometimes you get what you already have, and now it's like, okay, I need to find someone to trade because I want a new one, right? So it's the same. It's a concept that's been around for a lot of years. It's just now on the internet. So I can do this with a guy in Germany. Like, I can exchange a card with a guy in Germany instead of someone from my city. So I don't know. Like I said, it's exciting.
Yeah, yeah, it's so exciting, guys. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing the fact about like that it's fun and all the this emotional mood around it, because now it's too much focused on money, but it's cool, it's fun. NFTs are fun, and this is why I also would like to suggest you. I sent it before to Koji and to our listeners, like an amazing book about how to like develop a fun game, like how to entertain us. It's A Theory of Fun. I will link it here in the description, and that's amazing. That's the purpose of like building a game. That's the purpose of NFTs. So this is why I'm it's normal for me to see that like gaming is one of the first industry joining this NFTs world, because of course we're going to see more and more music, we're going to see a lot of other industries, but gaming needed to be one of the first. And in fact, this is how it started, right? Like with CryptoKitties and like all the other games, Axie Infinity that last year was pumped. So of course this will be huge for gaming. So the gaming in
Yeah.
yeah.
Like something interesting too. That this is a personal belief. I might be wrong, but usually indie game companies, they have a harder time uh, getting funds or making something like reaching the level of quality that they want, right? This makes it possible to, like, this gets rid of that because, for example, I think a company, I hope I don't get in trouble, but whatever. I think a big game company, like if EA tried to launch NFTs tomorrow, people wouldn't be like, I think people wouldn't be too happy about that, you
Yeah,
know,
you said it.
because
Yeah,
they have they already have FIFA. They like it will be. Um, I think it's obvious when someone does it for the money and someone does it because it's something that it's just an idea that they want to put out there, right? And I think if big corporations or start to do this, unless they have a young team or a team that really cares about the community and the art and the players, it might be obvious that it's like, oh, it's just a cash grab. It's business first and fun and
and fun
art
second.
later. Yeah,
Well,
but I mean, that's me. I might be wrong.
to jump on that point, I think it's important to note also that our goal is to make our NFTs available in packs and make those packs as affordable as actual card packs would be in the world. So
Wow.
in our initial sale, we had some NFTs that went for some pretty good prices as far as we're concerned. But we made it clear that our initial sale was to help fund the creation of the game. So I think people were more willing to spend a little bit more ETH in order to help us make this happen. But going forward, what we want to do is try and make a game that utilizes NFTs as opposed to an NFT game. So we want to appeal to not only the people that understand the crypto space and are used to spending crypto prices, we want to appeal to the people who are the everyday gamers who are used to spending, whatever, $10, $20 on a pack of cards as opposed to hundreds of dollars on a pack of cards. And so we're not, I want to make it clear that we're definitely not, looking to sell all of our NFTs for like 20, 30 ETH or anything like that. It's more about creating a game that uses this technology, because I think up to this point, there are a lot of NFT games, but there haven't been any that have broken the barrier to actual gaming. If you talk to your everyday gamer who's not really, in the crypto headspace, who plays Call of Duty or Apex Legends or Magic the Gathering Arena, and you say, okay, what crypto games have you played? They might not say any, right? So like my goal is to make it so that people think of us as a game, and then the crypto part of it is just another piece of technology that we're leveraging to make the game fun.
Yeah, that's funny. So that so many people can buy it, they can play it like for $10, $50, like traditional times when I bought like Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic. That's funny.
Exactly.
That's smart because you've got a bigger user base, so you will have more and more players.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not. We don't want it to be just exclusive to people that have, that
a lot of
type
money. Yeah.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's good because the first generation like of video games built on the blockchain was more focused on the marketplace and not on the game itself. So it needs to be fun again. Okay, um, about like you said, you talk about Ethereum, but do you think are you going to, because I think that you are also in the crypto market, of course, maybe you are also investors in the crypto, I don't know, probably. But do you think are you going to allow also other cryptos? Like there is one that pops to my mind that you probably know, guys, that is Engine. Do you know something about like Engine?
Yeah,
no.
so in the team, we've been talking a lot about various options. I'm going to be very careful because we have some ideas that we've been bandying about, but I can't really, because everything's so new, I don't want to make any promises or say anything here that may not come to fruition. But I will say that we are exploring various crypto options in an effort, like I said, to make the process of sending, receiving, trading cards more seamless. Right now a big barrier to receiving packs and how much they cost is gas fees, right, on Ethereum, which could be an issue in the future. So we're looking at all of our options, but I can't really speak to that because I feel like if I say anything and I get held to it, I'll get in trouble.
Okay. Great. Yeah, okay. So we will see. We will see. And of course, this is not sure because, as you guys were telling me before, this game is not already launched. So it's something that we will going to see in the future. So it's interesting for me to talk about this time, the process, in the sense that, of course, you need money, you need an investment, you need funds to develop a game. So what's the main difference between like having funds for traditional games and blockchain games? Who do you ask your money with at this time that NFTs, yeah, yes, are in a hype, but they are not so popular? There is a lot of people that are still skeptic about crypto world. So who are you going to ask, hey, fund my game?
Well, okay, so I'll say this. I'll kind of give you a brief bit of our history, and then kind of explain what we've done so far. Essentially, what had happened was a bunch of us who were friends had been talking about making a game for a while and trying to figure out the best way to do it. And then the idea of NFTs is really what unlocked it for us, not from just a purely funding perspective, but like I said, for me, from like a gaming fun perspective. But so we kind of had this idea and we thought, okay, well, what if we sold some NFTs to help fund our endeavor because the market seems to be good right now. But of course, creating high quality art like Oscar has done is not exactly free. So another team member that we keep referencing, Sasha, he's a very shrewd businessman. We kind of just sent him off into the world and said, figure out what you can do. And somehow magically, and it feels like magic, he came back and said, hey, I was talking to the founder of YouTube the other day. He's interested in the company. And so Chad Hurley jumped in and provided us with enough funding in order to get the initial pieces of art we needed for our original sale. Oscar had brought in some of his friends to help create the concept art and continue on with the game design, art design. And we made it clear to anyone who was buying into the NFT sale, like, hey, we have some plans for the future, but right now we're trying to sell these NFTs so that we can create this game the way that we want to do it without having to go, the traditional route and being beholden to a bunch of people. We want to make the game that we want to make. And luckily enough, people gravitated towards it. They reacted in a positive way and bought our cards, and to the point where we now have enough runway to continue on creating our alpha deck.
That's
Did I miss
amazing.
anything?
Yeah, that's
No,
amazing. So
it's
you say we don't need to look for funds, but you are funding the game with pieces of the game itself. That's very smart. That's something that just with NFTs can happen, because of course you need to close like funds with investors.
yeah.
Hmm.
And
Makes
honestly,
sense.
we didn't know it was a test, like at the beginning, when we started this, we said, okay, if we don't get enough funds, we tried and we'll go back to our lives before this and keep doing what we were doing. So it was a test, and it was great to see that the community allowed us to continue. Like it's because of them, honestly.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible actually, because we, like, what Oscar was saying, we had the conversation. We're like, if we don't hit a certain mark, we'll just refund everyone's money, let them keep the NFTs and walk away, because otherwise we can't do it the way that we want to do it. And yeah, people came through in a big way. I remember when we first went on sale, I was like pacing the house. I would pull my hair out if I had any hair, and I just didn't know. I didn't know what to think or what to do. And then at the end of it, like, it was a huge sort of sigh of relief, because now we get to make a game.
That's huge. That's huge. That's inspirational, really, guys. And you talk about, so that's the power of a community. How are you building your community? Because it seems like one of the most powerful things you have got now, because you still haven't got games, so but you've got a community. How are you building it? How are you engaging it?
I mean,
It's been, yeah, it's social media, it's Twitter, it's Discord. I think I'm the least active in there. I'm not like really good at just interacting through screens. I'm more of a face-to-face person,
Yes.
but like the rest of the team, it's like a full-time job. It's being there all the time, answering questions, releasing more cards when we can, just to let people know that we're still here, we're still working on it. We didn't just forget about it. And just like listening to what people have to say, and just engaging. It was super organic.
Super organic, yeah. No
Yeah.
advertising, no spending.
no.
No, it
Uh,
was. Yeah.
I think it's important. A couple of things that I should note that I think Oscar's too humble to note, but a lot of it has to do with he and his friends' art. I mean, people see it, and it's high quality art, not just for the NFT space, not just for the game space, but both. You see it, and you're immediately, at least I was immediately drawn to it. I was like, wow, I've never seen a game in this style. And looking at other NFTs, I'm like, this isn't the way that the thing that I normally encounter. And I think that's important, because there are a lot of games out there that want to do something like this, and when you look at them, they kind of look like I don't know, freemium app store games. And no offense, because a lot of those games are super fun and I play all of them basically. But to marry a fun game with a potentially fun game, obviously, because not everyone's played it, but with the art style, I think is what draws people into the community. And then there are other matters within the community that keep people there. So you asked how we built it. We have two guys who basically write all of the lore and story for us. Excuse me. And what they've written so far is super compelling. So many people have told us, hey, this could be a real-time strategy, this could be a comic book, this could be a TV show. Like they have not only the current story for our current alpha deck planned out, and I shouldn't even be saying this, but they have stories for the next few decks planned out. And I've only gotten a taste of it, and it's so detailed. And I mean, I think Oscar can speak to this. When we brought on his friends to help us with the art, they got like a whack load of documents saying, here's all the things that we've thought of thus far to incorporate it. And we've shared a lot of that with the community, and so much so that the community is now writing fan fiction around the fiction that these guys have written. And so I think that like we're engaging them not just on an artistic level, on a creative level, but also just like on an entertainment level.
Yeah, so it's a version. It's a version of like fan art. You make a character. I draw Wolverine because I like Wolverine, right? Like people are doing that for like the work that the writers on the team are doing. So, like that's crazy.
No, wow, guys, it's great because it seems really like the open source behind all this stuff, in the sense that you are developing parts of the game also thanks to the engaging with these people. So you are not just building the brand and building awareness, but you're also using the feedback of these people because you started so early. So that's an advice that you and I would like to give like to newcomers in the industry. So don't do like marketing and spend all your money on advertising your game, but these are the pros of like building awareness upon your game, also if it's not completed, also if it's not launched. So don't be afraid to do that on social media, but do it and you will get those rewards. And about this, about like the open source team, I would like to know more if you can explain like how will parallel will be like more open source in the terms of how the blockchain works.
Well, okay. One of the things that we've already done thus far is, we've talked to a game designer who I think you've had on your podcast actually. Um, Unfortunately, I
Jean
don't.
Paul.
Yeah,
You
I was
say
going to say
yes.
Etherway because that's how I know him in Discord. But we've already talked to him about incorporating one of our parallels, the Ogden Core, in his game.
Yeah.
And so, we want these NFTs to live on past the card game. I mean, my main focus, don't get me wrong, I'm only focused on building a great card game. But some of the other guys in the team are exploring other ways that these NFTs can be used. Like the characters, some of them are modeled in 3D, so like they can be translated into sort of AR applications. I know that some people are talking about, wouldn't it be crazy if we could like somehow incorporate this into like an Oculus style environment where you could play cards in a very like Yu-Gi-Oh style fashion. If anyone's watched that cartoon where you like slap the card down and then like this crazy thing pops up and like does insane stuff.
Listen.
And but like because it exists on the blockchain outside of our game, like we are not in control of the actual cards. They can be incorporated into a multitude of games and ways, and not necessarily that we even have control over it. Like once somebody owns that card, they can do whatever they want with it. So I mean, in that way, we're open to whatever.
Yeah,
Cool.
like
Cool.
if to that point, let's say if we at some point translate this the art, like the 3D art, into actual models that people can uh, manipulate, not in the way that they can change it, but they can bring them to other spaces. We cannot stop them from bringing them to, for example, one of the worlds that people are building to showcase other crypto art. like no one can stop them from bringing like the pipe, for example, to that world and have it there floating on top of a mountain. Like that's they can do it. They could do
Yeah,
it if
that's
we
powerful.
provided the source file. Yeah.
That's powerful. Okay, thank you guys. I just have like one last question. Like as an artist in the NFT world and as a game designer in the NFT world, what's your first advice that you're going to give to the next artist and the next game designer that is going to jump into this world?
Um, I said I'll say to other artists, don't like try to avoid getting angry first. I get that you're going to be confused in the beginning uh, because of the value that some of these pieces have, but the easiest way to understand it is the collectors and buyers are investing in the person sometimes more than in the actual image.
Yeah,
That's how it clicked for me. It's like, all right, it's easy to understand. So go that way and do things that this is another thing that I see happening a lot. A lot of artists are changing styles to match what is selling.
hmm,
I think that's just a mistake because you
yeah,
don't know if it's a trend. So just do what you like doing. Do what you would do on your free time when a client is not paying you, and if it's something that comes out of you and it resonates with people, it will just work, and you will be making probably you can make a living doing pieces that you will do in your free time, right? You can turn that into your job, just like
okay.
a fine art painter, a fine art artist. So yeah, try not to copy what's working and just focus on putting stuff that means something to you out there. And
Yeah,
like,
great,
yeah,
great, great.
Yeah, I'm going to echo Oscar's words here for a second, and it's not exclusive to NFT art or game design or anything. I spent a lot of time as a touring musician in my younger days, and you know, when I was really young, I spent a lot of time thinking like, hey, I can play guitar better than this guy, or whatever. Why are these guys more popular, or why is this happening? Rather than focusing on other people's success, just focus on trying to do your own thing, and then wait for your opportunity. I mean, I've made a few games that were not very good, more than a few games that were not very good, but that's just how you get good, right? You practice at what you want to do, and then when the timing, opportunity, and all of that kind of hit at the same time, that's when you can kind of move forward. And for us, it was the NFTs uh, allowed us the opportunity to make our game. But I mean, if it wasn't for NFTs, I'd still keep trying to make games, and maybe whatever the next thing will be that will happen would allow me to make my game. Or you just got to keep moving forward and sort of ignore what other people are doing in a negative way. Like don't be focused on why this guy, why that guy. Just find things that work, learn from those things, and keep doing what you're doing. Keep iterating on your thing, and then it will eventually come to fruition. I think, as long as you're dedicated.
Yeah, I totally agree
yeah,
with the both of you guys. Don't do something just because it's trending. Do something that you love, and the story and the future will repay you. And learn from your mistake, and don't give up. Okay, guys.
yeah.
So have you got like a website newsletter that I can link here in the description for the parallel game?
Yeah, you can check us out at parallel.life is
Okay,
our new website. So yeah, everyone just go to
okay.
parallel.life.
Great. For everyone that wants to have news about your game, you're going to check this in the description. Really, guys, I appreciate a lot. And thank you for coming here today. Um, that's it, man.
Yeah, thanks for
Thanks,
having
man.
us.
Yeah, it was fun.